the Cambodian soldiers were found in trenches, and there was an exchange of fire. And in that exchange of fire, one soldier lost his life. Now that became, of course, a flare-up, a much bigger flare-up than what had happened in the last few years, which is very quiet. In my own tenure there was not a single incident of this sort.
Welcome to the Strat News Global and welcome to The Gist. I'm Surya Gangadharan. We're looking at the ongoing fighting between Cambodia and Thailand over a disputed border area. It's a dispute of long standing, and every now and then they've gone at each other with both diplomatic and physical effect. But this time it appears to be a little more serious. I have with me Suchitra Durai. She was India's ambassador in Thailand from 2018 to 2022, and in that sense has had a close look at the region and what goes on there. Ambassador, welcome. Glad to have you.
Thank you so much. Pleasure to be here.
So, Ambassador, what do you make of this fighting? It's happened earlier also. Is this more serious this time around?
Absolutely. As you have already mentioned, this is a very old dispute, and it goes back to more than a century. And as people who have been following this issue would be aware somewhat. The history is like this. Thailand, which was earlier the Kingdom of Siam, used to be the suzerain for what is now Cambodia. Of course, France thereafter became the colonial power in Indochina. So Cambodia became a part of Indochina. Thailand itself was one Asian country which never became a colony. Of course, it got its independence by a set of very, very wise negotiations with the colonial powers at that time, including France. And as part of these negotiations, actually, its own territory changed a lot over the years. And in the beginning of the 20th century, in fact, in 1904, when the then King of Siam, Rama V, also known as King Chulalongkorn, went to France, he had an agreement at that time with France by which some territory was ceded, and in its place Siam got some other territory. And in 1907 there was a map which was actually drawn by the French mappers, first surveyors actually, and Siam accepted it, but it was only much later in the 1930s when actually Siam did the survey of the region. It found that while the agreement was that the border between French Cambodia, French Indochina and Thailand would be along the natural watershed, what had actually been drawn in the map was that Priya Vihar, which both sides claimed, which is a very, very ancient 11th century Hindu temple claimed by both sides, actually happened to fall on the Cambodian side of the border. So that became a bone of contention over the years. As you have mentioned, when Cambodia became independent in the 1950s, Cambodia went to the ICJ, the International Court of Justice, and the International Court of Justice ruled in Cambodia's favor. It was not a unanimous ruling, it was a 9-3 ruling, which gave Cambodia Priya Vihar temple, but Thailand never accepted it. And the land around that area, there was a continuous ambiguity on that area as to who owned that land. And that was, of course, settled much, much later, in 2013, when the ICJ thereafter gave a further ruling, which was a unanimous ruling, which said that Cambodia did not own that land. That land, the hill particularly, which was north to the Priya Vihar, continues to be in Thailand. So this is the historical aspect, and from time to time, both sides there have been border skirmishes. Perhaps the most serious border skirmishes which took place, before the current set of the conflict which is taking place currently, was between 2008 to 2011. Even at that
Mhm.
time, many soldiers on both the sides lost their lives, including civilians. But this time, the scale is, of course, of a much higher order. And it is not just confined to that Emerald Triangle, the Priya Vihar area. The Emerald Triangle is that area, tri-junction between Laos, Cambodia, and Thailand, where in that area is where Priya Vihar is located. But it's actually
Mhm.
gone all along the border, because the Thailand Cambodia border is 817 kilometers long. It has spread to the last set of skirmishes, which started last Thursday. And even this morning, I understand that there were shells which were, which
Mhm.
landed on both sides. So that has gone on a much higher level. And for the first time, there has been air power has been used
Mhm.
in this particular engagement.
Mm. So, Ambassador, there have been various reports about how some of this may have an internal dimension. I'm not sure whether it's pertinent to Cambodia or Thailand, but what is your insight into this?
There is definitely a lot of speculation as to why this is taking place, and why is it of such a magnitude.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm.
my own reading, this is a very old dispute, and there is a strong feeling on both sides. And there has been the current one has a long build up actually. It started off in February this year, when a group of Cambodians tourists came to what is called the Tha Mon Thom temple, which is a little westwards of Previhar.
There we have.
Uh,
Mm.
and it is in another province, which is the Surin province. And there, actually, they sung the Cambodian national anthem. So the
Mm.
Thai police, of course, stopped them, and that became a very contentious issue between both the sides. And but it did not go beyond that. But there was a lot of activity which was going on along the border, particularly on the Cambodian side. And on the 28th of May, in Chombok area, which is the area close to Previhar, what happened was that the Cambodian soldiers were found in trenches, and there was an exchange of fire. And in that exchange of fire, one soldier lost his life. Now that became, of course, a flare up, a much bigger flare up than what had happened in the last few years,
Mhm.
which is very quiet. In my own tenure there, there was not a single incident of this sort. In fact, confidence between the two governments was of a very high order. In fact, even cabinet meetings were held very interestingly,
Mhm.
in both capitals, joint cabinet meetings, etc. It showed that there was a high degree of convergence and cooperation which was happening. But this has been happening, I think, over the last few months, definitely. And
Mhm.
then after the 28th May, incident, there was a lot of, I think. There was a lot of nationalism which had a sort of on both sides. It was increasing in
Yeah.
intensity. And then there was a telephonic talk between the two leaders, that is Prime Minister, the former Prime Minister Hun Sen, who continues to be very important. He holds the position of Senate President in Cambodia, and the Prime Minister
Acting.
Piton Nawat, who is currently suspended as the Prime Minister. But of course, she's a minister in the cabinet. She holds the position of Culture Minister, and you have an acting Prime Minister. So what had happened was that there was a telephonic conversation which apparently had been recorded by
Yeah.
former PM Hun Sen, and he actually sent that. It was supposed to be a 16-minute audio clip which he had shared with a whole lot of people on his site, and somebody among
Leaked it.
those have actually leaked it deliberately or by mistake or whatever. It has gone into the media. Now what had happened was that, now if it is any normal conversation, it would have been all right, but it was over this very sensitive subject. And on top of it, it was alleged that Prime Minister Petronang Shinawat, is supposed to have called former Prime Minister
Uncle.
Hun Sen uncle, and also had a very deferential tone in the way she handled the issue.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I mean, beyond a point, the tone is also very typical of Southeast Asia, where elders are respected, they're given
Yeah.
a lot of
Mm-hmm.
courtesy in the way you do it, but it came across as
Deferential.
as not,
Hmm.
the prime minister did not come across as a strong leader. And thereafter, naturally, there was a lot of criticism of her internally, and there were a lot of allegations as to why this was happening, etc. And there was a court proceedings are there at the moment. Constitutional court is looking into the entire aspect.
But
So that,
tell me, Ambassador, just tell me. I understand Paetongtarn's father, Thaksin Shinawat, was close to Hun Sen and was even an economic advisor to him some years ago. So clearly the families were close. There was something there,
yeah,
but something has
extreme
happened.
extremely close, relationship between the two leaders. And as you have mentioned, when Prime Minister, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra went into exile. He was in exile for 15 years, and during that
Yeah.
period, it is said that he visited Cambodia a number of times. He was hosted by Hun Sen, and in the early years, he was also made an economic advisor. Again, this sort of arrangement happens in that region. At the moment,
Hmm.
also, former Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra is actually advisor to the ASEAN chair, Malaysia. So,
Uh-huh.
these kind of arrangements are there because of the kind of personal friendship that these leaders enjoy.
Hmm.
Um, and ASEAN itself, although its origins are, in a great, the great confrontation between Indonesia and Malaysia.
Indonesian, yeah, yeah.
What is incredible is the way they came to terms with each other. There's been a peaceful sort of progress. It's perhaps one of the most successful regional organizations, and that is because they agreed to all bury their hatchets and to deal each other through dialogue and through negotiation rather than
Yeah.
through armed interventions. So both these leaders did enjoy a very close relationship. Some would say even a business relationship. One doesn't really know about that. And what I understand is that there was a lot of expectation on the Cambodian side once the Pheu Thai party, established by Prime Minister Thaksin Shinawatra's party, basically, formed the coalition government in 2023 after the elections, parliamentary elections took place. Although they were actually the number two party, the number one party was a different party, the Party of
Yeah.
Reformists. But they managed to put together a very viable coalition. And firstly there was Sreta Tavisin. He's one of the prime ministerial candidates at the time that they went to for elections. And thereafter, of course, that government did not last. So Thaksin Srinawatra's daughter, whose name was also proposed at the time of the elections as one of the three prime ministerial candidates, became the prime minister. So there was a lot of expectation at that time
Yeah.
that the bilateral relations between Cambodia and Thailand would really progress, and there were a lot of. However, there were many things which happened in between, including joint exploration in the Gulf of Thailand for gas deposits, etc. There was a lot of talk, discussions initially, but it did not go anywhere.
Hmm.
Then, most recently, I would say, was the issue of scam centers. They have been
Uh-huh.
operating along the border, between Thailand and Cambodia,
Cambodia.
uh, and there have been, many cases of people who have, been lured into this, into working for the scam centers. People have lost their money through these cyber scams. Earlier on, no action was taken, and but there's been a lot of international pressure, recently, and Thailand took a lot of action against, these scam centers operating. Because they all do that with the support of, because the internet and power, everything goes from Thailand.
Hmm. But
So,
Ambassador,
Yeah.
Ambassador, tell me, I mean, scam centers and all that is okay, but is that enough to kind of undermine the relationship between two leaders who are, as you said, in that region, they're very close, you know? So, this details about Petong Tan's conversation with Hun Sen was leaked by someone, perhaps with malign intent. Is that how the speculation is going? I mean, somebody had a role to play in kind of undermining this relationship. Could it be the Thai army, which doesn't like the Shinawatra family?
You can point fingers at many possible groups who might have rivalries, but definitely my sense is that although there is no love lost between uh, you know uh, Takshin Shinawatra and many other groups within Thailand itself. I think in this case, it was primarily the fact that this was an old dispute and it was coming up, and
Hmm.
both sides, if they had not taken action, would have actually lost credibility with their own people, and therefore they had to ratchet up, these differences. But the leakage itself. My own reading is, and I mean, I cannot be 100% sure about what is happening within Cambodia because I'm not an expert in the internal, politics. But my sense is there was also a power play within that country,
Hmm.
and perhaps it was one way of, ensuring that the new Prime Minister Hun Mane, who was very new at that time,
Yeah.
could be showcased as a very strong leader, who can safeguard Cambodia's territory, who will come across but actually the opposite has happened because
Yeah. Hmm.
this entire episode, it looks as if it continues to be the former Prime Minister Hun Sen who's calling the shots.
Yeah.
So
Hmm.
there could be implications, in terms of the power structure within that country also. Because there also there are supposed to be three families which are always rivals in terms of the
Okay.
political power structure. One is
Yeah.
of course the lead is the Hun Sen family, the Huns, and then there is the Tevan family, who is the former defense minister, and the son who is the current defense minister. And then there is the Sar King family, who is also a former deputy prime minister, whose son is also continuing to be in the cabinet. And they're all strong leaders in different parts of the country.
Hmm.
And any kind of undermining of the importance, or if their leadership of Hun Mane and Hun Sen combined is found to be faulty, then those power structures will
Will come
gain
up.
some strength. And Sam Rainsy, who is their eternal, perhaps opposition figure, who is currently in exile again, is leading some resistance, movements in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Whether he has the backing of some others, we do not know.
Hmm.
That is, of course, a separate story. But as
Hmm.
far as the current dispute is concerned, I think both countries feel very strongly. There are very strong nationalist feelings on both sides, and the people have been affected on a day-to-day basis, and that's very real for them. And I think the leaders are cognizant of that also.
So tell me, there is the current Thai Prime Minister is under suspension, and it appears that there is some kind of a transition underway in Cambodia. So, in a sense, both countries are kind of in a bit of a limbo, isn't it? Leaving space for other players to kind of meddle and.
No, you see, it's like this. At the current coalition led by, Prime Minister, she's continues to be the Prime Minister, although she's suspended, of course. Her government actually has 253 MPs. In the parliament, which is 500, they lost one major coalition partner, which was the Bomjai Thai party, which had
Mhm.
69 MPs. Now the Bomjai Thai, leader, Anutin Char Binakul, he's a very ambitious leader, very competent, leader also at the same time. But of course, at the moment, he doesn't have the numbers. So this
Yeah.
present coalition, it is felt, will be able to survive till 2027 when the next elections will be held. But it does seem at the moment that their popularity of the Pheu Thai party, etc., is going down, and the Shinawat brand name also seems to be fading, because there
Mhm.
was a poll which happened just a couple of days ago, which showed that Paton Thang Shinawatra, from 44% popularity rating just a few months back, now enjoys
Mhm.
only 11% popularity. So obviously these will have
Mhm.
implications. On the
Um,
other hand, there's no limbo, I would say, as far as Cambodia is concerned, because there are other people who are jostling, but unless there's a major conflagration and a war which is very clearly lost by Cambodia, and I don't think it will happen because they're now actually, even as we speak, there is currently talks going on in Kuala Lumpur, and both the
mhm.
leaders are there.
Mhm. So tell me, in Thailand, is the military involved in trying to destabilize this current government?
Um, I would hesitate to speculate on that.
Mhm.
Of course, the military is a very, very strong, player in the entire system. In Thailand, since the 1930s, when from it moved from an absolute monarchy to a constitutional
Yeah.
monarchy, there have been 22 coup attempts.
Yeah.
Out of those 22 coup attempts, 13 have been successful.
Hmm.
But nevertheless, Thailand is a democracy.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting, a sort of a case actually in Southeast Asia, which is the only perhaps middle income or high middle income country, which also from time to time has a dictatorship coming
Yeah.
in. But at the moment, it is a fully democratic government. It is as fractious, as noisy, has a very vibrant media, like any other democratic country. So, but the army, of course, has a very important role. And any leader who comes to power in Thailand will have to have a modus vivendi with the army. And you even see that now. For example, the leaders are very careful in the way they deal with the
Yeah.
army. Second
Hmm.
army commander under whose jurisdiction this entire thing is happening. For example, the Lieutenant General Boon Sen Patklang is quite a very influential figure. And while the civilian government is making statements, the army also parallelly is making statements. So it does happen,
Mhm.
but be very
So,
careful where this is concerned, that I think they're all together and all of them are united.
so what about the king? He is a constitutional monarch, okay, but I'm sure he's got his backers out there.
Yes, I mean, in the sense that without the monarch's
Yeah.
agreement, the government which is currently ruling could never have
Yeah.
been appointed. So definitely it has the backing. But if it loses its majority, obviously some other grouping will come in.
Yeah.
So that is definitely there.
So, last question. This is something which a general viewer here in India would love to know. Both Cambodia and Thailand are Buddhist, actually, countries, but they also have the strong Hindu thing about them. Is that still very visible, something very manifest? What was your experience?
Yes, very much. Particularly, I would say in Thailand, where I served, I've never seen a country with so many shrines to Lord Ganesha.
Uh-huh.
Virtually every street has a shrine. You have, Lord Indra is the emblem for the Bangkok Municipal Corporation, for
Hmm.
example. So you have everywhere the title of the Thai monarch is Rama, and
Yeah.
the current one is Rama 10. So, this is the kind of the Ramayana has a very special place. the royal emblem itself is a combination of the Trishul and the Chakra. It is
Hmm.
the dynasty is called the Chakri dynasty. So all these show that the Thai Brahmin, for example, there's a very important temple there where the Thai Brahmins preside. They are the ones who actually conduct the main rites for the coronation of the Thai monarch. And all
Right.
this is, in fact, very similar to the Khmer, traditions, which is what
Hmm.
is followed also in Cambodia. The Cambodian king also follows basically the same thing. Sanskrit is very, very well regarded. The Thai language has any number of words which come from Sanskrit language.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
script, the Patwa script. So there is so much of Hinduism there, but it is all absorbed under as part of Buddhism. So
Yeah.
the average person on the street will not look at it as either Hindu or Buddhist, but will look at everything as one single tradition, which incidentally they will look at it as a Thai tradition. And similarly, in Cambodia, if you go, I'm not aware
Mm-hmm.
of the rest of the country, but of course I've been to Angkor Wat like many people. It's a fantastic, it's a great Vishnu temple, the largest perhaps Hindu temple in the world.
Hmm.
Bigger than any such structure in India. So you see, there is a very strong Hindu tradition there, but it is, of course, assimilated by
Into the
the
larger, yeah, yeah. Fascinating. Ambassador Dore, thank you so much for your time, and thank you for giving us this perspective on the Thai Cambodia thing and something extra on the side. Thanks very much, and looking forward to more such conversation going forward.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's all we have for you in this broadcast. Do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on social media. Thank you very much. Good day.